we are in Michael Jordan's second year. He doesn't exactly play a lot of games this year, but there's still a shit ton of stuff that happens. So he starts his sophomore campaign. He's playing okay, getting right back where he left off from his rookie year. But he steps funny, right?
Yeah.
He goes to catch one of those wide receiver passes over the shoulder, and he steps on the flat-footed.
And you see him; he's just jumping all around the freaking court right now.
He's the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah. I've mentioned this before, especially like during Kobe's legacy breakdown and stuff. Russell Westbrook, I could see why a lot of people compared like Russell Westbrook's mentality to like Jordan and Kobe. Like they would say shit like that, and I never understood because I'm like, they don't play the same, but younger versions of Jordan and Kobe play very similar to Westbrook, which is crazy to me. I never really looked at it in that way. And you kind of always help me like notice those little architect shit bullshit, because I never pay attention to that. But seeing Jordan like that jumping around, I'm like, the only player that I've ever seen do that really like watch with my eyes is Russell Westbrook. Like he's all over.
And a MVP Derrick Rose, but he's still overrated.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So no reason for that.
We need the lights off again.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
as a gamer, you know.
But no, so Michael Jordan, he injures his foot. He talks the Bulls into letting him go back to North Carolina. So I'll play some of his college highlights to show he's back there.
Yeah.
So he goes back to North Carolina. He goes and gets his degree. What they don't know, what the Bulls don't know, is that he's starting to go back to the court at the college, and he's starting to play 1-on-1. And that 1-on-1's starting to become 2-on-2s.
And for the people who's thinking like he went back to his degree and probably got something like business or something, it was in geography. I know, fucking annoying.
Cultural geography, get it right.
Yeah, whatever. That annoys me because you're thinking like a billionaire, like Jordan's a huge billionaire and everything. You're like, oh, he definitely went to college for like business or something. It's like,
what do you mean? What? You could. It's easy to be a billionaire when you're the most recognizable face on the planet.
Are you trying to discredit his one?
He goes back to North Carolina to get his degree. He starts playing basketball again, and he comes back to Chicago, and his calf that he injured is stronger than his healthy calf.
Yeah.
Or leg or foot.
Yeah. No, it was his calf. That's how they noticed that.
Yeah. And the doctors were basically like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, that's how they just noticed that the leg was stronger, but overall it was a foot injury, and the foot, it was like a fracture in the middle of his foot.
So this is where the famous Michael, if you had a headache and you had 10 Tylenol and one of them was coated with cyanide, would you take the pills? And Jordan goes, well, how bad is the fucking head?
Yeah. Yo, no lie, yo.
Jordan has great quotes, man. Jordan has some of the best quotes.
And he's just like, his epicness, like, is what makes it. It's crazy.
So, and this is epic. This type of shit is epic because he comes back under the agreement that he can only play 7 minutes per half.
Yep.
Totals to 14 minutes in a game. And you can see he after 3 games played in the season, he hurts his foot. So now he's coming back in March, right?
Yeah.
So according to Jordan in The Last Dance, he tells the coach, you give me the most important fucking 7 minutes in each half, and we're going to win.
Yeah.
And going back to the vow to get this team to the playoffs.
Yeah. I just want to add, because I know you did mention off mic and we went on. But the calling out the bullshit, because I'm sorry, like he made it seem like it was 14 minutes for the rest of the season. And that was not true. It was only 14. It was a 14-minute restriction for like 5 games.
Yes. And most importantly, they were not really winning either.
Yeah, exactly.
They were losing a lot when he was not getting those minutes. However, if we are to go, so 37, obviously the reins are off at that point, right?
The game
So-
he's talking about though is that game right there, the Indy game,
Yeah.
where they win by 1 point, and he played 28 minutes. Made it seem
So
like
let's just do the stats from that first game he comes back to that Indianapolis game and just get his totals. So he's playing 19 minutes per game and he's scoring 19 points a game.
Yep.
That is fucking ridiculous. He's literally coming in and just on fire, shooting, putting up 15 shots in 19 minutes. It's almost a shot per minute. Like, that crazy shit. And 2.1 steals, 1.2 blocks a game in that period of time.
Yeah.
Wilding, going crazy. Just trying to be ballistic at in every minute of the game, which was wild. But they get the win.
Like they went 3 for like 6 in that run though. Like
yeah, for real.
Yeah, like he definitely had to do what he obviously knew what the team was trying to do. They were trying to
and also you remember he played in the 23 minutes, right? That was obviously more than allotted. And Jerry Krause yelled got upset, right? And that led to this. And it's funny because, like you said, in The Last Dance, Michael Jordan says he played 14 minutes in this. But I guess he's playing 14 minutes per half now because it's exactly 28.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking too when I was looking at it. I was like, oh, he must have been mistaken or something. Like when he said half instead of quarter.
It started that way. Yeah. But it finished at about 14 minutes per half.
And this is why we're here. We're here to break this stuff down for y'all, just in case y'all, like some people just lie to you right in your face and you just take it. Like if they're pissing on you and telling you it's rain, I'm gonna tell you it's piss, bro.
Propaganda is real shit.
Yeah, facts.
But once the reins are off of him and he's allowed to come back and play above 30 minutes, he's right back up to that 30 points a game, 29 to be more exact. 29, 4.5 and 4.5, 2.2 steals and a block per game. For a guard, that does not happen. Yeah. That is yet to happen. No guard has ever averaged a block a game for a season.
In his career. But it's probably because he's still trying to get back to the flow of things. And and he's coming off of injury and he probably feels the urgency to like, all right, we gotta get these games done for us to have a chance.
And he's got to get back in shape, like in good basketball shape for them to have a chance, So
do we look at this as a good thing that Mike is able to bring them to the playoffs, or do we look at it as like these first couple of years, like they have losing records? Like
it all depends. In my opinion, it very much depends on how much you value the team, right?
Yes.
So his second year in Chicago, let's see who's on the squad, right? Pretty sure Orlando Woolridge is still there doing things. And the only reason I know about Orlando Woolridge is because in NBA 2K11,
I know he had Paxton Oakley. I think he might have had the short guy that
Woolridge. The end of George Gervin's career.
Oh, okay.
Dave Corzine and Charles Oakley.
I'm surprised he doesn't mention anything about George Gervin in his.
No, I think it's literally for just a cup of coffee. I think George Gervin only played 1 year here. I'll double check. And why would he mention anything? Jordan was barely on that team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, just that 1 year. Yeah. So, and who knows? George Gervin probably would have had a negative impact on Mike because George Gervin was like, every time I touch it, I gotta shoot it. Finger rolls about how good can I look? Fuck trying to win. About scoring titles.
Yeah.
That's George Gervin was like the poster child for that shit.
Well, it might have been why Jordan started becoming narcissistic.
his team is pretty subpar. A lot of guys you've never heard of. Scoring points, but again, high-paced era, right? We're right in the meat of that. We had just covered this during LeBron's hypotheticals, bringing him back to this season, this exact season.
Yeah.
So the pace is up. We're going to see a lot more people scoring. So don't be surprised if you're seeing inflated numbers from fucking guys you've never heard of.
Yeah.
But their reward for getting to the playoffs, which just seems like a really awesome treat, is they get to play the greatest team ever assembled to that point.
Yeah.
The 86 Boston Celtics. And Jordan is a one-man wrecking crew because the reins are off.
Yeah.
Like he can play every minute if they fucking want him to play, right?
The craziest part about this, like, he might have been the only player really in, like, no, not really. There's a couple people, but
yeah.
But, no, actually, no. He might have been the only player in NBA history that gets like props for losing. In this case, right? Because like, and it's crazy because no one talks about the first game. The first game he puts up 49.
Well, that's funny you say that because these are the highlights from game one.
Yeah, no, I know, yeah.
But the highlights from game one where he did put up those 49 points in the first game. Continue.
Yeah. And like, that's crazy in itself because like the Celtics weren't like slouches. Like
the Celtics had the best defense in the league and one of the best offenses in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
They were awesome.
Yeah,
and this is the ball movement out the ass Celtics. Everybody can. They're just routing teams, right? And they had Dennis Johnson, excellent guard defender, right? Danny Ainge was there. Larry Bird, not like a defensive maestro, but like Larry Bird.
Jordan looked up to these guys for sure. Like, cause I mean, literally every time he had a chance to mention in The Last Dance, he always said like he wanted to be looked at like Larry and Magic.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure having the opportunity to face Larry, you know, he was probably like, I gotta wild out, you know.
So there's a famous story about Larry Bird, Michael Jordan shooting in practice against Larry Bird when they were either when he was a rookie or during those like exhibition games. I can't remember. And Jordan, you know, shot goes down to the other end. Larry Bird has the ball in his hands, and Jordan's like, "Hey, you know, the usual ball," and Larry Bird just chucks it as far as he can. Fuck MJ. Is that story real? I don't know. Have I heard that story? Yes. Does it fuel Michael Jordan? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether it's real or not, these are the type of little
I've heard
Michael Jordan. You've heard that story before? All right, so I'm not crazy. Yeah. But he puts up 49 versus Celtics in the first game. They lose, right? They go to golf. And we've talked about this. I think there's a clip of this on our channel somewhere when we did On the Mat Moments. But they go play golf, and
we'll be here somewhere.
Jordan said they were basically like, you know, whatever. And Jordan goes, tell your boy Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge I got something for him.
Because he had just finished losing the game of golf. Was it Danny Ainge, right?
Yeah, it was Danny Ainge, and but basically the two stud backcourt guys are Dennis Johnson, and Danny Ainge. But Dennis Johnson's known for his defense. He'd been known for his defense for a while at this point.
Right.
But Michael Jordan goes into the Boston Garden in Game 2. It's a 3-game series, mind you.
Yeah.
So they need this game if they're going to have any shot to get through these Celtics. Or 5-game series, not a 3-game series. Excuse me.
No, yeah.
Oh, was it 5 or 3?
It ended in 3. Huh?
It ended in 3, so it was a 3-game series.
Yeah, it's a 5-game for our younger
viewers.
First
to 3.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, not every, because this is something important to note. Not every series at this point is a 7-game series. There are 5-game series in the first round.
Yep.
And just important to note.
It start becoming 7-game series until sometime in the 90s, I think, right, Lindsay?
Yeah, it'll be on your screen. But Michael Jordan destroys them in the Garden, 63 points. But as we said about the lack of talent on this Bulls team, that 63 points brings the greatest team of all time to this point to double overtime.
Yeah.
And they still lose.
Yeah.
So, and look, this team's going to go on to win the NBA title.
Yeah. Like, you can't, that stuff like that, I don't really you can't get mad at that because he's obviously playing his freaking heart out.
And this is why, to go back and answer your question from earlier, this is why he's one of the few guys that gets fit for losing. because especially back in the 80s when the machine's just pushing him upward. Like now we're in a different time. Now we're just at a point where the machine works a little differently. Like you have to win the championship for the thing to get behind you. Look at Kawhi Leonard. That's a perfect example. Once he won the championship, then the quote unquote basketball hype machine really got behind him.
Yeah.
But
On
before,
his own,
but before that point, it was different, you know?
Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel that. And I don't think he shouldn't get credit for it. I just it's something that's always this is something that's just always talked about. Like that's one
I agree. Michael Jordan 63, that's still a playoff record. Can I ask you a question? How has that not been broken? Because how many threes did he score in this game?
He didn't. I don't think he scored a three.
I don't think he put up. I don't think he had one.
Well, technically for the series, he averaged 100% from three. I just don't know how many threes he shot.
Yeah,
probably very few. Probably one.
I'm assuming it's probably one or two.
But
the reason I
one for one.
He
desperation three.
Looking at that and thinking this, I was like, this man scored 63 points and didn't freaking shoot a 3-pointer. Like that's crazy.
That's crazy.
But I don't know. Like I don't know why. I feel I could totally see. Like you'd think, like maybe even Harden or like Kobe would have like went for something like that. Especially Kobe in like 06.
Yeah. Yes.
Like that would have been a perfect time for him to do something like that. But it's just I don't know.
And especially with all these guys putting up threes. Like we've seen a few 60-point nights. And last year in the playoffs, Donovan Mitchell got to 57. So we're getting there. But I think that if that record stands another 5 or 10 years, I'll be surprised. If I'm being honest. I'd like to have that on record. So that when it happens, I can just fucking tweet this out.
I don't see that getting changed for a while.
Really? 63. Look, because this is what I'm saying. Like, Wilt's 100, that might not ever get broken. That's a lot. But 60-point games happen.
Nah, no, it doesn't. Like, think about it. Like,
more often than they used to. You know what I mean?
50-point games, maybe.
50, yeah, but 60s don't. Like, the last 60-point game that I know of is Curry. Curry had one this year, I think.
Yeah.
You had.
He's not alone. There's been I feel like there's been one or two.
No, I don't think so, man. The person that I see doing it though is probably Dame. I could totally see Dame putting up a 60.
But also, like, especially in a playoff series where it's just given to your best guy all the time, like, and that's the key, especially in a desperation situation. I'm just surprised nobody's ever like lost their way to. And
it's because most of these teams have like 2 stars for the most. Like now, like especially now, like and especially in the last 15 years, you've had teams with 2 stars. You don't really have teams that go to the playoff. Yo, they were mad tight. You saw that? Yo, Bill Walton. The funniest shit was when Danny Ainge told that story about Bill Walton.
How tight he was because he had to guard him.
Yeah, he was cursing at him during the game when he had to guard Jordan. That was fun. And then it showed that play where he freaking slams the ball.
My favorite play from this game is when he does the double through the legs. Like he switches legs and he crosses him over 6 times and hits the mid-range jump shot on Larry.
Everything.
That's one of my favorite plays. I used to do that at the basketball court all the time when I was a kid. Always with the double cross.
I would always
see it came out. I would be watching these highlights.
Do that little dribble thing.
Fucking awesome.
I can't do that for me.
But this is a precursor for this next season that we're about to see, where Michael Jordan enters a new stratosphere in terms of scoring and just total like explosion. But any last points before we move on?
Yeah, I was gonna say from this point on, this is he scores over 30 every single year until he retires in 98, right?
That's fucking staggering. Yeah.
I think in 98 he might average 28, my bad. But I think that
still, he'll basically win every scoring title that exists from this point forward.
I do have a question. Do you think at this point Michael Jordan is the best player in the league?
No.
Okay.
No. I think it's Larry Bird. I think it's Larry Bird or it's Magic still at this point, especially on this team.
Oh yeah, this is 87, 86.
This is
right?
86.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So it's definitely
Larry Bird's his back is getting worse.
yeah.
Magic's about to take it from Larry in 87, in my opinion.
Yep. Okay. And then I have Magic as the best player all the way until about 89, 90.
That's how many saw it. I'm sure the argument could have been made for Jordan because of the scoring prowess and how much people value scoring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me personally, not yet. I have it when the torch is passed. You know what I mean? But Michael Jordan's going to definitely have an argument as we go forward because he's about, like I said earlier, he's about to take the league and just make it. It's his bitch.
Yeah.
Like this Celtics stuff is a great precursor for this.
Yeah.
Because what he does in this next season is stupid.